We have some new details on Xbox next generation. Let's go over this massive report. So there's a massive report that was just put out last night from Windows Central and Jez Corden going over new details here for Xbox's next generation consoles and how ambitious the next generation is going to be. We already know the next gen is going to be very, very different from the Xbox side of things with going with a console PC hybrid. I mean, they've already basically shown us their cards, expanding out the ecosystem, putting their games everywhere, giving us a glimpse into the new upcoming user interface on the cloud side of things that a lot of people do really like. And I think this is going to be transferring over to everywhere that Xbox is, even on the consoles itself. The release time frame for the next gen consoles has kind of been leaked here from AMD, with Lisa Su during their financial report saying that everything is on track to have these Xbox consoles for 2027. So lots of interesting stuff has been happening as we get closer to the next generation of consoles. And now we have a big exclusive report. Everyone's talking about this report here for Xbox and the new details on the next generation consoles. It says new details on Xbox's next gen consoles and Microsoft's most ambitious gaming plans ever. From AMD's claim of 2027 Xbox to the idea of plurality of Xbox Gen 10 consoles, let's sift through some of the fresh details. So we'll start here. It says, for an idea of how the Gen 10 Xbox will function, you can look at the current Xbox Ally. And of course, we've gotten the Xbox Ally handhelds, the Ally and the Ally X, and the full screen experience is in there. It's a good experience, needs updates. It's obviously missing the access to the console games themselves, and I think that will eventually end up coming. But he says here, the Xbox interface will sit on top of Windows, disabling unnecessary processes to create a gaming-first environment, and you will be able to exit out to full Windows, much like you can exit out to Linux on the Steam Deck and run practically any program or accessory that you can think of. And that's going to be a big change for a lot of people. Now, the question you'd have to ask is how many people will actually ever boot out into Windows? Will they really even care? I think if you're a PC gamer and you have a lot of games on different storefronts and you want to access things like emulators, all of that stuff, it'll be far easier to do that now on the next generation Xbox console. I mean, currently right now on the Series X and S, if you didn't know, you can actually get emulators on there. But it's a different process. It's a more cumbersome process than if you're just running Windows, and it's just easier to download and get all that stuff going on the console itself. And if you download these emulators and you boot up into the Xbox full screen experience, you can access them through the game bar and everything. So it's actually pretty nice. I actually have that kind of stuff running on my Xbox Magnus that I have connected to my TV here, which is just basically the full screen experience with a PC and everything. So cool stuff that you're going to be able to do there, and they're going to make it a lot easier with the next generation of Xbox consoles. And the Ally and the Ally X have already shown that. I mean, you can dock your Ally and Ally X to a TV and it works just like you would have with, I guess, the forward going here with the Gen 10 Xboxes. It says here that you turn your next gen Xbox into a streaming PC, coding station, music production studio, or whatever else. So it's just basically a PC. And a lot of the finer points are shrouded in mystery. How powerful will this thing be? What kind of price will it have? When will it launch? Here's exactly what we do know so far. Lisa Su says development of Microsoft's next-gen Xbox featuring an AMD semi-custom SoC is progressing well to support a launch in 2027. And the internal codename for the Xbox SoC is Magnus. Sources have confirmed that, but we don't actually know the codename of the Xbox console itself for the next generation. Apparently that is, it's not Magnus, it's something else. We don't know what the internal one is. We always get those, like we had Durango and everything, and that stuff gets leaked, and it's always mysterious and very cool talking about the upcoming console with the codename, because you're always running exactly what is going to be under the hood. It does sound like, in my opinion, it's going to be very powerful and very expensive. That's everything that we have been hearing so far. Now, Microsoft hasn't fully internally committed to a hard 2027 launch for the next-gen Xbox platform, and says since so much of it hinges on improvements to Windows 11 and other factors, and Microsoft's Windows and Xbox teams are collaborating harder than ever to get the OS into shape for a polished console-like experience on Xbox, and you could think 2027 as the best case scenario. Breaking that down, I feel like As I've kind of been talking about on my channel now for a while, is that 2026, aside from the games, is going to be massive on where we get to see the evolution of the current interface and how Windows 11 operates within the Xbox experience and how we're going to see a bunch of updates. Like, I think we will see the progression of where we're going by the end of this year. And then by the end of 2027, if they can get it functioning the way that they want it to, and I believe this would include backwards compatibility with your console games, then it will launch. But if they launch it before it is in a state where you're getting that access, I would definitely think they should hold off on that. It should be launching smooth, very minimal bugs, improvements to the actual look and feel of the user interface, and then seamless access to your current collection of games that you've owned on Xbox for all of these generations. I don't think that's something you would want to roll out after. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing here. The SoC sounds like they're working with AMD to be able to make that function, which is very exciting and cool to see, because you're going to be able to take that SoC, not just put it in the Xbox consoles, but I'm guessing they're going to use it on other devices too, maybe OEM devices. So you can have multiple different types of Xbox consoles. Now, there are a ton of rumors, they say, flying around about the potential price points for the next gen Xbox, but the truth is Microsoft itself doesn't know how much the next gen Xbox will be. That just makes complete sense with everything that's happening. I mean, we already have seen Steam Machine have to push back when they're actually going to be launching the Steam Machine because of the whole stuff going on within the market. Tariffs, RAM shortages, prices going up everywhere. The pricing is going to be very weird here going forward for the next number of years. And it is unfortunate for people who will want to get into this, because I think with these next gen consoles, the actual base of people that are going to be able to pick this up day one is going to be smaller than it has ever been across any generations of console gaming. And that's going to be PlayStation as well, which is when we talk about the evolution of the ecosystem and the expansion of where games are going, it is extremely important for Xbox and PlayStation to get people playing their games in more places for the next gen, because I think the amount of people that are going to be picking up these consoles, if the prices are as high as people are expecting it at this point, you're going to see a shrinkage. Consoles have stagnated. I think next year you're going to see a shrinkage in sales across the board if the prices do go up. I could be wrong, but that's just kind of the way I do see it. Now, when it comes to the type of next-gen console, they say here that it looks like they are pushing for a more premium experience from its first-party offerings, but that doesn't mean Xbox will suddenly become inaccessible for those who can't justify the spend, which is goes on what we just talked about. It says, indeed, I'm told Microsoft expects the Gen 9 Xbox Series X, S, and PS5 to have a long tail, or a longer tail than usual, as a result of this broadening hardware endpoint ecosystem. And that may be the solution for a lot of people next gen, which is crazy, is picking up the Gen 9 consoles, because those eventually are going to go down in price. I think those will eventually get to a point where they're very cheap to pick up and then still play a bunch of games great. Now, it says here that even if the next gen Xbox comes in at around $1,000, as some expect, the Series S players shouldn't expect to be suddenly cut off and priced. Yeah, that would be crazy to do that, so that does make sense. Developers of all shapes and sizes, Microsoft included, are building games that target the Nintendo Switch 2, Steam Deck, and other lower-end types of devices, and that'll continue for a good chunk of time, even after the next-gen Xbox launches. I would say more so than anything, the Switch 2 and the PC handhelds are playing a role in a very long tail for this current generation, because games are going to target those devices as those continue to spread out across the board, and as we get more of those in people's hands. And on this point, Jez here says that he's told Microsoft is also working with OEMs such as Asus and the like to build a variety of options for the next gen Xbox gamers across a range of price points, like the two Xbox Ally models. We've talked about this before. I think next gen, you're going to have more Xbox hardware than we have ever had in the history of Xbox, because of this whole OEM side of things. Like, it will have that Xbox look, feel, the games, potentially all the functionality that you're getting on the first party Xbox, but then you're also getting more options of where you want to jump in and power and all of that. And I think that overall, that is a good thing and needed. And it's falls right in line with the raising prices. I can't say that Xbox and Microsoft knew that the prices were going to be going up, that we're going to have RAM shortages, that we're going to be the whole tariff situation. But they are, I think, made a very good call with where they're going because of those things. And I think that is going to pay off when they're able to offer an Xbox for $200-300 less than the most premium one, or even more, maybe $500 less. You never know how low down they're going to be able to go in terms of pricing, depending on what is under the hood with these OEM consoles. Now, in terms of the first party console, it will be the baseline quintessential Xbox experience. This is where we could see more expensive, even more super premium Xbox consoles from Microsoft's Windows partners, as well as slimmed down, more affordable options on top. So that is great to hear. Now, as a hardware platform, it is the most ambitious yet, and does say this when it comes to MPUs, what's going on under the hood, all that. Microsoft is currently testing a new MPU powered highlights reel feature for the Xbox LAX, which takes your gameplay clips and automatically generates a shareable video of your best gameplay moments. And the feature is slated to drop in March 2026. So next month, we're going to start seeing this. It's going to be rolling out on the LAX, of course, because it has that MPU. And the new types of features land well on the Xbox LAX. They'll find their way onto the next-gen Xbox too. I wouldn't see why they wouldn't end up landing on the next-gen Xbox. If they're rolling it out to a bunch of people, they're testing it there, and then, of course, they're going to put it out on the next generation. And the hardware ecosystem that revolves around the Xbox Everywhere identity. Now, one of the things that we have already heard about, which is cool, is the Epic Game Store. They do want to get on the next Xbox. You'll have pretty much all your PC stores on the next Xbox as well, so you'll be able to access all of your games. This includes like Xbox Play Anywhere. You got your Steam. You're gonna have your GOG, your Epic. You're gonna be able to put anything on there. I mean, it's Windows, so you can download and put anything that you do want on there. But will we see a handheld? Will we see a handheld from Xbox again, like their own first party handheld? And it seems like Jez seems to think, yeah, there will be actually a first party Xbox handheld. They do say here that despite rumors to the contrary, I'm told Microsoft still wants to make their first party Xbox handheld eventually too, even if the traditional next gen Xbox console is the focus for now. So they're still developing apparently their own first party Xbox handheld, which to me, we heard that it was put on the back burner. Would make you think it was canceled, and there's no way that they're going to go out there and produce a handheld, especially when you're seeing the revenue decline in their hardware every single financial quarter. Although, like I've said, I believe that's 100% by design right now, as they're trying to move forward into the next generation, putting all their resources there. Maybe just wait out the everything going on in the market and then start bringing down the prices of the Series X and S once the next gen launches, so that they can get rid of that inventory. We don't know, but working on a first party handheld when you've already put out the OEM one could be something that they expand out. Does not make that much sense to me, but I would love to see it happen. I would love to see them make their own first party one. And this goes completely in the face and contrary to everything that we see about Xbox being dead. People say that when Xbox is dead, they're focusing and talking about the console and the hardware. Well, it's clearly not dead, because they're going to be making a next generation, and they're potentially going to be still developing their own handheld. So they still believe internally, of course, there is enough of a baseline customer base that want to pick up the first party consoles and Xbox hardware to actually go out there and produce this stuff. I don't think they would just be doing this just for the fun of it. They would probably actually cut this thing off if they really thought the next generation nobody at all was going to end up buying, or supporting that customer base from a first party perspective, first party hardware perspective, was a waste of time and money. If they're actually making a handheld as well, I would be shocked, but I would love to see it. That'd be super cool if they actually did there and see their take on being able to create something here on the go. It'd be the first time ever we actually got a first party Xbox handheld in our Xbox in our hands by Xbox themselves. And I think I'm all for it. I would absolutely end up picking one of those up. Pricing would, of course, be something that they're weighing in here, because if you're offering $1,000 console and then another $1,000 handheld, it'll be very hard to sell both of those to the same person. You end up choosing, I guess, which one you do want to go with. Finally, it says the fundamental vision of the original Xbox revolved around bringing Windows to the living room. In a way, we've come full circle here. It's Microsoft's most ambitious hardware plan since the inception of Windows itself, but also for Xbox, probably its most risky. And I think it is definitely risky, but I do see this being a pretty smart move. And I could see this paying off for sure. One of the things I think they're going to have to really focus on is how are they going to convince people who are not currently in the Xbox ecosystem on the console side, like let's say they're playing on PC primarily, to want to pick up one of these Xbox consoles as a supplementary box or something that potentially is more powerful than the current PC that they are playing on. You sell it as you're getting the Xbox experience, but will also give you access to your current suite and catalog of games on your PC. So you're really getting the best of both worlds in a sleek box. And if this custom SoC can really do some great things, like you start seeing really good results with it, you're seeing it compete with some medium, the higher end PCs. I mean, you never know depending on what they're going to be pricing this at. It could really be something they trying to sell at the same time as others are out there looking to build a PC, and they're seeing how expensive GPUs are, how expensive RAMs are, how expensive everything to basically build your PC components now is going up. They sell a premium box here that plays games 60 FPS, 4K. Every game that you want to play is getting nice results. You never know. This could really be something people decide to buy instead of actually building a PC going forward, because it is a PC. It's going to have Windows 11 on there. It's going to have a console-like experience, and you're going to get great results with games that will be a baseline and have games specifically optimized for it. So there's a lot that they could do here. And I think, yes, it is risky, but at the same time, I do think it is the correct strategy going forward. When you're comparing it to the PlayStation 6, it'll never sell as much as the PlayStation 6, but you see how the PlayStation 5 Pro, when it launched, that's the baseline price I think you're going to get for a PS6. You're going to have a lot of people really considering whether they want to pick up that locked, closed down ecosystem. You get a select amount of games that are within PlayStation Network, and you're starting off the generation spending $700, $800. Who knows how much that thing is going to cost? Will that really be worth it? Especially now with a lot of PlayStation games going over to PC, and you could just get that on Xbox as well, or get it on PC or potentially in other places. So there is a lot here to think about when it comes to the next gen. Will it be something that brings Xbox back to selling like the Xbox 360? Absolutely not. I think they know that their baseline customers right now for selling a console is now in a range where it's stagnated, and it'll probably never get higher than where it currently is. If anything, especially with price increase, it's going to go down. And then we'll see what they end up doing with the Series X and S. If those prices ever get to very cheap prices, will those continue to sell for years after the next gen is out? Lots and lots of interesting stuff here, but I'm excited for it. I think this is a smart move, and I will absolutely be looking at picking this up when it does eventually end up coming out. But I'll end the video there. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.